new dimension has emerged in the Persian Gulf and the West Asian region. The Indian Director General of Maritime Administration has issued an advisory telling all mercantile vessels and mercantile companies which hire Indians that Indians should not be hired and made to transit ships or be on board ships which are transiting the Hormuz. The Straits of Hormuz, as we know, is the conflict zone between Iran and the US, with both sides targeting each other, especially Iran targeting the ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz from the Omani side, or which the US says it has kept open on the basis of almost 50,000 troops and 20 warships, which it has deployed in the area. The advisory of the DGMA, or the Director General of Maritime Administration in India, came about as the two sides, Iran and the US, escalated tensions, which almost 6 days, in the past 6 days, I beg your pardon, the US has launched attacks on Iran, and Iran has retaliated with missiles and drone strikes at US bases all across the Persian Gulf. This advisory is largely meant to shipping companies, maritime people who arrange these logistics for the maritime companies, that no Indian should be hired on ships transiting the Hormuz. Now, it is vital to understand here that the ships are actually not transiting anymore, not any more ships are transiting the Hormuz, because the data of the Lloyd's Shipping Insurance Company also shows that very few ships have crossed the Omani side or via the Omani sides, the Hormuz, entering the Persian Gulf. The Iranian side has also seen a few ships cross, but largely these ships are directed or made to pass through by the Iranian side or under escort from the US side. With very few ships passing the Hormuz, this advisory means that Indians, who actually, as I told you in the start of the program, form 1/3 of all the mercantile shipping manpower in the Indian Ocean, will not be or have been advised not to go on such ships. In the meantime, the US launched a fresh attack at a maritime tower at Chabahar port. India has stakes in Chabahar, as we all know that. The Minister of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal very clearly mentioned today that the terminal of the Chabahar port has not been hit.
On your question that it was attacked, yes, we have seen some reports in that regard, but we can also tell you that the terminal itself did not face any damage.
This morning, the Iranian media reported that a maritime tower had been hit, while US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth put out a picture of a tower getting demolished, which led to speculation that the Chabahar port had been hit badly. Later in the evening today, Randhir Jaiswal clarified that the terminal had not been hit. He also spoke or mentioned about the advisory issued by the DGMA, saying that there is a risk to people, and that is why this advisory has come about. Now, this, as we all understand, advisory means that it is an advice to shipping companies and to international companies. It is yet to be seen how much Indian seafarers will agree to such a advisory or follow this advisory and not board such ships. In the meantime, today the DGMA hosted the Maritime Security Coordinator of the country, the Maritime Security Coordinator Biswajit Das Gupta. I correct myself, beg your pardon, Vice Admiral Biswajit Das Gupta, retired, a former Indian Navy officer who functions as the Maritime Security Coordinator under the National Security Council, visited the DGMA and interacted with them, and what kind of threats the mercantile mariners are facing nowadays in the Persian Gulf. Matters discussed included how long-range surveillance is being kept on merchant ships and how long-range communication is maintained, and what is the method of emergencies in which the mercantile mariners can talk to the maritime rescue centers run by the Coast Guard and the Indian Navy. The Coast Guard and the Indian Navy run a coordinated maritime rescue center, which collates information at the IFC OIR, that is expanded as the Infusion Maritime Coordination Center, which is run at Gurugram, headed by the Indian Navy, and has got several countries or representative of several countries on board. As we keep on updating the story to you, we'll keep on updating how the story of the mariners, of which have been told not to go on ships transiting the Hormuz, and also the Chabahar port, we will keep on updating you. With me is Tribune photographer Manas Ranjan Bhoi.